My name is Nalie Agustin, and I am the blogger. What do I blog about? Well, it all started in July 2013 when I heard the scariest words that I ever heard in my life. You have breast cancer. I was only 24 years old. I was young, healthy, no history of cancer in my family, and the same way you're all looking at me right now is the same way I reacted. I was shocked. My blog, nalie.ca, documents my entire journey battling breast cancer. And what started off as my online diary then turned into a resourceful and relatable website for other young women coping with cancer. Through my YouTube videos and my writing, I provide tips, tricks, and real-life experiences on my treatments, its side effects, and my remedies. I blogged from the day that I was diagnosed all throughout my 16 rounds of chemotherapy, my full mastectomy, and 29 rounds of radiation. I blogged all the way up until my very last treatment, which was in July 2014, when I was finally able to scream that I am now cancer-free. Thank you. So from beating breast cancer to blogging my way through and then recently publishing my first e-guide called Chemo Secrets, the number one question that my readers ask me, aside from how the hell did your hair grow back so fast, is, Nalie, how did you do it? How did you get through all of this with a smile on your face? Well, for one, I must admit that I've been blessed with the most amazing support system. My friends, my family, my boyfriend, they were there for me, and they still are today as they're sitting in the audience watching me speak. But tonight, I want to give you one of my secrets, a trick that has kept me resilient throughout those really rough times. Whenever I face adversity, I always ask myself this question: what's the worst that could happen? Not once, but a minimum of 3 times. Allow me to explain. When I was told that I had breast cancer and that I had to undergo chemotherapy, before panicking, I paused and I questioned, what's the worst that can happen? My first answer was, shit, I'm gonna lose my hair. And I have really good hair. And then the crazy questioning began. What if I get really sick? What if I suffer from complications? What if my body changes? What if I lose my friends? What if my boyfriend is no longer attracted to me? When all those what if this and what if that kicks in, that's where you gotta cut yourself off and ask yourself a second time, what's worse than all of that? So I took a deep breath, took the time to reflect, and responded. Death. Was I really gonna die in my 20s, our supposed prime years? Is it going to hurt? Does dying hurt? Those were some of the many scary random thoughts that crossed my mind. I'd cry thinking about it, but no matter how hard it was, I forced myself to go even deeper. And I asked myself a third time, Nalie, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? The more I reflected, the more I realized that it wasn't so much death, but more so the outcome of my death. You see, on my second round of chemo, my veins were no longer visible. So the nurse had to stab me in the forearm over and over again, tweaking and twisting the needle with the IV. It took over 8 tries before she could find the damn vein. I'm not sure if the worst part was the unbearable pain of that needle, or the look on my father's face as he watched his baby girl suffer. And that is when I realized that the worst thing that could happen to me due to my cancer was if it caused pain to the ones that I love. So when my readers ask me what motivated me to get through all this with a smile, it's because I knew that when I cry, my mother cries. When I laugh, my brothers laugh with me. And if I stayed strong, my whole family would stay strong too. The trick is to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen until you can't answer it anymore? And while many of you may think that's how you get anxiety attacks, I believe that's how you become resilient. Because the first step to resilience is to acknowledge and confront your fears. Identify what bothers you, and then move on to finding a solution. One that you actually have control over, because as many of us think that we can control everything, there's things that we just need to learn how to let go. By determining what's the worst that can happen, you will discover what means the most to you. And then you can move forward and focus on just that. In my case, my main concern was if my cancer was to cause pain to the ones that I love, not just by killing me, but by killing my purpose. So what was my solution? My blog. So should God decide to take me tomorrow, I know that my blog will keep me alive. I know that it will continue to serve, and because of that, I know that no matter what happens, the look on my father's face won't be that of pain, but of pride. Thank you.